I feel like us as players were, we had to fucking grow up a bit. I never let someone take the joy away from what you do.
Do you want to be a one-club player?
Definitely moments throughout my career where that thought drifts through your mind. At a certain time, I'll hang the boots up, but I'll dictate the story, not them.
Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal. I'm wearing Rick's sunglasses, made in Australia.
Shaq loves Australia.
See?
There we
That's
go.
your first commercial right there.
Head to checkout and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off site-wide. Rick's, eyewear that inspires confidence. Welcome back to another episode of Tommy Talks. This week, another massive guest. We say that every week. But we have Patrick Cripps joining us, Brownlows. We're going to be talking coaches that haven't been there. We're going to be talking about businesses away from sport, family, and what you want to do with the rest of your career. But Cripper, thanks so much for joining us, mate. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tommy. I'm looking forward to having a chat with you, mate. It should be good fun.
We've timed this to perfection. I've been trying to get you on the start of the year, but then we just kept pushing it back. But in the end, I've got you at the absolute sweet spot. 4 in a row. Blues are back.
Yeah, I just had to hold you off until we won a few games, mate. So talk about some good things. But it's exciting, mate. It's as you know, with footy, it's always a bit of a roller coaster throughout the year. So Carlton never disappoints in that end.
Man, I'm actually like, the one thing I love about doing podcasts, we're just talking then, is like you get to really dive in and research someone's life, really. And you speak to a lot of people that are close to you. And I mean, the best thing I've always loved about you is you're a knockabout bloke. You're a great person. You love to give back. We'll get into that later. And you're really good at football. So a lot of people would only know that side. So there's a lot to talk about. But also just recently, Alivia, you got a new wellness center. You got a few other, your ball magnets. There's a lot of other things that I probably don't know about you that you're involved in. 31 now, so starting to build your career away from football, but pretty keen to dive into all that. Plus the footy career so far. We start with a warm-up. We've changed it from an icebreaker to a warm-up. So I'm going to give you a little warm-up.
Get the juices flowing.
Get the juices flowing. So a real easy one off the top. But who was a better coach, Voss or Bolton?
Jeez, I've come into footy classified, have I?
No, skip that. I said to one of the boys, we'll give him a little easy one, a little layup to start. But, mate, there is, everyone talks about coaches, I reckon it feels like. They don't talk about the players enough. How much are you sick of talking about coaches? I feel like it's something that all you see on the TV when you get interviewed is whether it's Fraser, Voss, the past coaches. How many times have you been asked about a coach?
Yeah, there's been a fair few doorstops over the years, mate. So it's like I've always the way I always reflect on it. It's like it's a lot of those things out of your control. But I just hope now, as a footy club going forward, like the next coach of Carlton's a 10-year coach, and we have a lot of stability around that. But there's been a lot of changes, and I suppose the only positive out of it from an experience point of view, like I've been around 13 years now, you've actually seen a lot of different ways how people operate and how they go about it, and you sort of see how people, how they come in, but also how they act in sort of the pressure cooker of senior coaching. And a lot of them I've had great experiences with. Someone like Vossi, he's been a huge mentor for me. So even the way he carried himself this year, looking, sort of just watching him how he went about it, I just had so much admiration for him and learn a lot how you show up as a leader through adversity. But yeah, look, it's the nature of it. Like obviously some players have the fortunate where they only get one coach throughout their whole career. It's been a bit different from my journey, but that's my story, that's our story, and you just embrace it.
It's your only story as well. You can kind of compare when you speak to people. What's been the hardest probably day then? Like with all I've got the coaches here. You've had Mick Malthouse, Johnny Barker, Brendan Bolton, David Teague, Michael Voss, Josh Fraser. Like I'm probably missing something there, but yeah, there would have been a day there where you go, this is unique. And do you reflect on that?
Yeah, there's been, I do. It's the hardest days are actually, obviously the days when coaches get moved on are always tough because you build a relationship with them. I reckon that the hardest time is when, as a team, you're not going as well as you want, and there's just a lot of external distractions trying to take away your focus. You rock up the club, there's media out the front, those things. So it takes away what you actually love doing, which is just playing footy and getting out there. And I suppose as a leader, the toughest period throughout those times is just keeping the group together and making sure you keep the energy high when things aren't going well, because everyone tries their hardest, everyone wants to win, but at certain times you don't get that. And especially at a place like Carlton, it's just the nature of playing at Carlton that you're going to get talked about whether you like it or not. It's either you're humming or you're not going well. There's no in between when you play for a team like Carlton. So it's just sort of balancing that. And but yeah, these tough days. But the way I've always reflected on these tough days is, I know you sort of learn a lot about yourself and those around you in those times. It forces you to actually reflect and go inward and learn more about yourself. And I feel like throughout all those times, I feel like people around you and yourself, you come out with a bit more scar tissue, and you learn sort of some good life lessons along the way, which sort of help you the next time you face those situations. So, but even the current one, like for a few of us, we've been through those a bit. So we sort of knew how to keep the group together, where the young guys were sort of like, what's going on right now? This is crazy. So just the experience we've had so far.
Who do you call when it becomes tough? Is you got to be the brave guy at the front. You got to stay consistent with your mood, energy. You got to front up when you might not be feeling well. Got to motivate these young guys and drive them. They might be an 18, 19-year-old that's like a jagger that's like, what's the go here, Skip? And you're really hurting because you've got a good relationship with the coach. Who do you call in that moment to just realign yourself and kind of just, take a breath?
It's probably been different over the years. Obviously, other senior leaders at the club. So like at the moment, it's be like Walshy and Weeders, the main one. Newey's another one. So you sort of lean on those guys a bit. In the past, it was Doc. Like me and Doc were really close, and obviously co-captains through a few of those. So you sort of lean on those, and because it's like anyone, you need to sort of debrief and feel the emotion of it all. You can't just rock up and feel like everything's okay. Like it's still hard. And then like just in terms of outlets, like whether it's your partner, your best mates, or your family, like you don't obviously go into full detail with those people, but it's probably more just to have a sounding board. And the other one's probably my manager, Matty Bain. I always chat to him about certain things, and we've got a great relationship and trust his opinion a lot. So it's just people that that you can really trust and in sometimes just vent to, but also then, once you do that, you come up with a plan. And most important way I've always said as a leader is like through tough times, like how you show up says a lot about someone's character. And so I'm never one to sort of walk around with the bottom lip dragging around. It's sort of how do we keep moving forward here? How do we keep the group together? And I think that's probably especially this year is probably what I'm most proud of for us as a group. Like it was pretty tough, but the ability to sort of galvanise and stick together and find a way to now try and make something of the year.
It is impressive. I was just thinking the resume you have is just all these things you've learned that other people haven't. It'll probably apply to life more than, just having a consistent run with one coach and everything running smoothly. All these ups and downs, you would have learned so much more than most captains out there, I'd imagine. Yeah,
I just love the quote, like adversity like breeds resilience. Like it's anyone that talks about that's gone through some sort of adversity, and there's obviously a lot of different, what we've gone through is minor compared to what other people go through in their lives. So you have that perspective, but it like I said before, makes you reflect. You learn more about yourself, and next time you then exposed to that situation, you're a bit stronger to sort of cope with it. So that's sort of how I've sort of comprehended it all.
No, it's great, mate. You're a good man, and I hope that there's someone there that's, as you said, 10 years plus. You look at Geelong. I think I saw a graphic yesterday. Geelong are like made finals 18 of the last 20 years, and it's just there's something down there that I don't know what they do, but it's amazing work. Let's go to Vossy, a bit more lighthearted, because you got a great relationship with him, but the reality is you guys just had the fourth quarter collapses. For anyone that hasn't been watching or doesn't watch sport, Carlton flying at the start of games and then just getting beat at the very end. And then, unfortunately, Michael Voss, head coach, sacked. And now you've won 4 in a row as we record this podcast. Was there a moment where, lighthearted, where you're just walking in maybe the 3rd or 4th time in a row and you're just looking at Vossy going, mate, was there one moment where you're like, what's going on here?
Oh, early in the year, it was just like, it was frustrating because I was setting the games up like against quality opposition. Like there was, I feel like most games were ahead at halftime, midway through the 3rd, and then like I always looked at it, it's like, the coach obviously has some impact, but like I feel like us as players were, we had to fucking grow up a bit. Like it's we had to take a fair bit of ownership, but what what it was doing, it was like we're getting these lessons. So it was like, it was forcing us, like, we're going to go deep dive here. And it's like, a lot of it's in the mental side of the game. So like, what's actually going on? How are people feeling in these moments? So it was wasn't like, hey, pointing fingers. It was like a lot of accountability and pretty honest conversations, which you got to have in those times, because realistically, like, when in the high performance environment in the arena, there's nowhere to hide. So you got to step in and you got to want those moments. So probably the biggest thing for us was like, you just got to keep going at the game and keep embracing it, and always think about there's something to gain rather than something to lose. Like, I feel like you go in that sort of mindset. I've always been big on that. If you go into games sort of looking to get after it versus playing safe is a big one. So, I reckon like the Melbourne one was a big one. That was early in the year. Then obviously we had North Melbourne the week after. So that was 2 in a row where we basically had the game sort of, in a way, like we had it won, and we couldn't quite capitalise. And then we had we did have some progressions. And then the Saints one was another one where it was just like a bit of like in the face. That was probably the hardest one, where it was like we felt like we had took 2 steps forward there, but then it was like, far have we taken another step back? But I felt like we're actually progressing. And probably the hardest thing with Vossi was everyone's like, oh, what's been the change? But I actually felt like his last game was the Brisbane game. And so none of us knew that, he knew before that was his last game. And
I knew that?
Yeah, which he told us afterwards, but none of us knew that. So he'd made the decision that was his last game of coaching, win or loss. And obviously the first half of that game, I felt like we carried on the form from the St Kilda game. We were just like a team low on confidence. We actually played a really good second half that week against the Lions up in the Gabba. And I felt like the group actually gained a fair bit of energy from that half. Like, I felt like we actually found a bit of confidence, which we hadn't had for a while. And then on Monday, we found out, Vossi was stepping down, which I sort of respect the way he sort of handled it. So he sort of said, look, you know what, I'm going to call it here, which I think was really selfless on his end. But at the same time, I was sort of shocked, because I thought, felt like we could actually get on a run here. And then we obviously win the next 4, and everyone's like, oh, I know what's changed as being the coach. But I felt like we actually had a bit of momentum going in from the end of that Brisbane game. And so that was sort of the storyline of it. But I know a lot of players have talked about it, but the way he handled himself, like as a mentor, I couldn't speak highly enough of the relationship we have, and obviously been in contact with him as well. And he's just a great person. Like, he's the pressure cooker he was under, like not many people could handle that with the dignity and the way he sort of fronted up. So I got even more respect from him, which I had a high level of respect for him before this year, but this year even higher.
Well, you forget that he's an absolute champion player as well, So he's been a champion for a long time, and unfortunately it just didn't go his way. But so you have spoken to him?
I
in the last few weeks.
Yeah,
so.
I speak to Vossi like a fair bit. I was really close to him. We used to chat all the time, and not only just like when you're the 2 sort of leaders of the footy club, you're always trying to think about how can we grow this group. You support each other, you challenge each other at times. But yeah, it was always like from how he made this club better. But like obviously through 4.5 years, like when you're chatting weekly, like you build a pretty a really
together.
Yeah, a really strong bond. And we had some really tough times. We had some really amazing moments that you share. It's not just with Vossi, it's also the coaches and the leadership group. So it's a relationship that I know we'll keep carrying on throughout my footy journey the rest of my life.
You've won 4 in a row, right? Has there been a bit of have you had a chat with him? Has he had a laugh going on? Now you start winning, Skip. You're like, has there been any of that stuff?
Oh, I definitely felt for him. Like, even the Bulldogs game, like it was obviously the emotion of winning, but I actually felt a bit hollow after that game, because it's just like, I wish we could have done it while he was still going, but just the nature of footy. But I think he'd be sitting back. There'd be 2 ways I reckon he'd be looking at it. I reckon the one it'd be hard to watch because he still had that strong connection with the players, but on the other side, I reckon he'd be so proud to say he knows how much heavy lifting he did culturally and from a leadership point of view to set us up. And even when he did leave, on the outside, it looked like things were tough, but on the inside, the energy throughout the whole club throughout the year was actually really strong. It was actually some of the best energy from the locker room and club that I've actually been a part of, which is crazy to say when you're 1-8, but it was actually right. And and a lot of that was a lot of heavy lifting he did, especially through the middle part of last year when we were going through a tough time, and obviously over the pre-season. And you chat to any of the new boys we got in, that they even sort of echo that how much they enjoyed the environment and how much connected everyone was. So I know he'd be looking back really proud of that, knowing he left the environment in a really sound place culturally.
He did say that, didn't he? He goes, I know I left it in a better place than when he picked it up. So That's one thing that I remember he spoke to the media about when he was on the way out. When you've lost those games in a row, like, because I've been in a room, but a lot of people watching, listening might not, but like, I'm talking like the film room.
Yeah.
When you're doing like that heavy accountability, like what kind of challenge are we talking about? Like we used to call it Piero vision, where there's this light that would pop up on a player's, body and it'd track them on behind the goal vision and be like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You should be here. And we just spoke about this game scenario last week. We just spoke about stoppage structure last week and the week before.
Yeah.
The scenarios are here. You should be hitting it here. Like, all that kind of stuff. It would have been, I could only imagine, repetitive.
Yeah.
And as skipper, you're going, why is that bloke not there? You'd be getting frustrated, but you also can't be venting like that. But was there high challenge in those moments for the Carlton fans listening?
Yeah, there is. It's like, it's this balance, because like you got the first half, we're playing really good, so you see the positives from that, and it's like, oh, this is what we're going away from. A lot of the heavy challenges probably in the leadership meetings and that, because accountability and ownership goes onto your leaders, so it's always that fine act of like challenge versus support. Like, where's the fine line where you actually erode a group's confidence versus like, we're actually doing some good stuff here. So there's always a mix with that, and that's the art of sort of leadership and coaching. You got to find that balance. But there was definitely some times that there was some really strong conversations to us as leaders, but I reckon the biggest thing what happened from that is because it was it was repetitive. It made us really dive into the mindset side of it. So we did a lot of work with Steve, our psychologist, and Travis Boak, who's our leadership and culture guy, and we just had to do a lot of work on what is it? How are guys feeling in those moments? What's actually the blockage here? And then also, let's flip that. What's the things that we can fully get after and that in our control? Keep it really simple. And then we started chipping away at that. So there was some parts where it was accountability. A lot of parts was actually deep diving into what's actually the blockage here, because for one half we're showing that we can match it with anyone, but the second half we're falling away big time. So that's sort of how it went. And the last 4 weeks have probably been a progression of the stuff we've been working on over pre-season and during the start of the year. Like sometimes you get a lag effect. Like you're chipping away at things a bit until someone, especially the young guys, but all the older guys, like sometimes you need a win just to get that sort of confidence and feel. You know what I mean? Just get you that confidence back. You bounce in on a Monday, you're up and about from a win. Like winning just helps with that sort of stuff. So. There was a lot in it, but like I said before, like I felt like we did a good job to actually keep the group together, and no one was actually pointing fingers. It was more like, hey, let's all take ownership here and find a way forward.
You're right, mate. And there's less meetings, which obviously deload these young players having to stress. I don't know what a meeting room's like for you guys, but we used to get quite anxious going into some Monday reviews off a loss, because you might be getting dropped or you might be getting highlighted as a young player for doing something that's an RFI clip. So less of them and more positives. Obviously, it flows through the locker room. Obviously the fans and everyone else is up and about. One more on Vossy, or more the coaches. But, you've lived through the Carlton coaching carousel, as I mentioned, more than most. I just want to know, like, how challenging do you think the instability's been on a playing group? Because there's been a few players that have been there the whole time and some that have come and gone. On you personally as a skipper, and when you invest so much into those relationships, what kind of damage does it do to you a little bit?
Look, with the instability, like you can't really get caught in that as players, because it's happening at a higher level than what you're sort of functioning at. You're just in the footy department, like the footy thing. So you have more direct sort of relationship with the footy manager. But I think the way I've sort of looked at it, I reckon there's 6 big roles in footy. So you got the president, you got the CEO, you got the footy manager, you got the high performance manager, you got the list manager, and the senior coach. So they're sort of 6 key leaders. And I think that when you get sort of those 6 that have been together for a while, that's what I feel like a lot of the good clubs, when we talk about stability, that's what they do. So I feel like there's been a fair bit of turnover for us, since 24 in those roles. But I feel like now a lot of these people are in new spots. So my hope for Carlton going forward is, keeping all those people and sort of growing together, and the guys like Jagger and that coming in, hopefully they sort of feel, like I said, that 10-year coach and really, build that sustainable environment. I know you talked about Geelong, but you look at their record the last 20 years, like you want to build sustainable. So for us, obviously 23 and mid-23 were great, but we went up, but then we went down pretty quick. So now for us, it's just like, how do we build back up? And then once we're up there, actually stay there for a long time.
No, it's good. Speaking about staying up, like we've dived straight in. I'll stay with the footy before I get to me. I've got a little the cheese and kisses segment. So I've gone out to Mon and asked a few questions.
Yeah, right.
So I love that one.
Interesting.
That'll be fun. But we'll save that for later while we're on this footy topic. You know, we'll get to the individual awards in a second. But I just want to talk to you about critics. You've had your fair share. And now that we do podcasts and media, we're for the players. So we're always defending players and, we'll be going hard at this Paul Curtis thing today. Don't worry about that. We just want to clean that up. But I'll read out, this is the stuff that you're copping after round 0. And just to remind people, you've won 2 Brownlows just, the last few years. So you got the corn, you're running out. I'm really concerned that the best has passed him, and then since then you've averaged 26.6, including 32 versus Richmond, 31 v Freo, 32 v Brizzy, 29 and 2 v Dogs, 32 v Port and 30 v Geelong, right? But you got blokes that are in the media potting you, saying too old, too slow, disinterested. These are the kind of comments they're chucking out. They're creating a narrative. You're going to start losing a few games. Pressure's coming on. Obviously, as a player, you block the external noise, but you're playing arguably some of your best football right now. But when you hear criticism like that, does it motivate you, frustrate you? How do you feel when you hear that kind of stuff, especially from past players?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's I actually think about this a lot because I reckon it's really important for young players to hear it. I reckon early in my career, it probably not affected me, but it's sort of like you probably took it personally. And it's just like, what's going on here? Because my first 6 years was pretty on upwards trend. And then I reckon my 7th and 8th year, I sort of had a few plateau years where I got criticised pretty hard. But like I said before, like that period actually taught me a lot about, because it made me sort of do a lot of deep work on myself and, started separating like me playing footy versus me as a person. So you sort of have that barrier. And then you sort of, as you get older, you go through these things all the time, especially as a leader of a club that's at times doesn't perform it where you want it to be. So I sort of make sense of it. I just see praise and criticism from people externally as the same. Like it's just like, I feel like it affects your mindset both ways if you actually read into it. So I don't even laugh at it now. And it's not like, it's just, it has no relevance in my, it just takes up no real estate in my mind. It's just sort of, when you focus on you put in the work, you keep your mindset the same. Then you got a circle around you, whether it's people at the club and your close sort of friends and family. When they give you feedback, you take it on. But the external for me, I just sort of block it out. And I've just got nothing against those people. I actually, if I see them in the street, I got nothing against them. It's just I know they're doing their job. But yeah, the way I look at it, it's like praise and criticism. At times, you go well and they're going to pump you up, but it's actually not real. When they criticise you, it's not actually real. You just got to keep focusing on the work and the mindset and keep enjoying what you do. And the biggest lesson I've learned over the journey is like never let someone take the joy away from what you do. It's a big one. So, and I reckon for all young players, like they're going to go through this. I know you got to go through the fire to get to that level. It's taken a lot of work to be able to get to that, but I still love playing the game. And, I know, at a certain time I'll hang the boots up, but, I'll dictate the story, not them.
And they also say never is bad, never is good, which is exactly what, as I think the trap would be for young players is they actually read into how well they're going. So when they start getting the criticism, that's when they start getting crushed. So like, hang on, they used to love me. Now they hate me. And now they're buying right into it. So it's good advice from you. It really is.
And it's also like social media is the same. It's not necessarily like the expert commentary, but it's also like social media. Like if you have a good game, like people are going to absolutely love you, but at the same time they'll come at you. It's just like that's for all players. It's like that's where you got to have sort of, I suppose, barriers in place to make sure you actually understand what's real and what's not. And if you keep focused on the work and keep enjoying what you do, then eventually good things will come your way.
What about as a skipper? 2-time Brownlow medalist. I think about leadership different ways now that I'm out of the game. And I reckon it starts with performance.
Yeah.
But for you, where does it start? Because there's so many motivating factors as a captain.
Yeah.
You got to get the group up. You got to be prepared, ready to go. You're carrying injuries all the time.
Yeah.
Got to face the media. Got to do all this stuff that just comes with it. You got to do extra meetings, talk to the leadership group, drive standards in there, drive stands with the group, have these chats with the coaches, fans, everything. There's just so much more that you have to do that exerts energy.
Yeah.
But then game day comes and reality is performance is probably the number one thing.
Yeah.
But then you have key scenarios like breakdowns, in the last quarter at the start of the year, and you're responsible as captain to make sure everyone's in the right spot and we're hitting the ball to the right, we're doing the right things in certain scenarios again.
Yeah.
But when you strip it back and you go out there and you play this weekend or any weekend primetime game, what are your key focuses going into a game as skipper?
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but you got to strip it back and keep it simple. So you're spot on. Like playing well is the best way to lead, and that's like if you talk about building the foundation, that's the foundation, and then there's layers to it. So in terms of how you show up, I'm big on you got to show up. Your energy is important. So how can I expect a 19-year-old to show up and want to love come to work if you're walking around with your bottom lip down after a loss, or after a win you're jumping around like you've won the flag? You just got to keep pretty level. But I'm big on sort of positivity and optimism at the forefront. Always think about what's the way forward. What's the opportunity here? What's the lessons we can learn from? So that's a big one. We still got to have a standard. So that doesn't compromise, just pumping everyone up, but you still got to have accountability on a standard. And with that standard, you got to lead that standard. So you're not immune to feedback.
So just on that as well, if someone's not sticking to standard, what kind of feedback do you give them, and how would you go about it? Well,
it depends. There's on-field and off-field, isn't there? So it's just accountability. And I think the best challenge is when leaders challenge leaders in the on-field, because that's the standard that you want to set. But off-field is more your habits around how you build your weeks. Are you on time to meetings? I know it's a funny one, but your body composition. In the day, your body's your biggest tool as an athlete. So if you're not in the optimal shape, well, then you're actually letting us down. So having accountability on that in a healthy way. So that's the stuff. But the way I break the weeks up usually is the first half of the week for me is reflect on the game, watch your touch points with players. So who do you need to get around to that might have had a subpar game that you're probably beating himself up. So making sure you get to round them and make sure that they're okay. Who's a young guy that played really well and say, mate, I loved your game on the weekend, but remember this is what you did throughout the week to set you up. So just those little sort of touch points, because as a leader, your voice carries so much weight. So you can build so much confidence in these young guys, and just a small comment from you on game day or throughout the week can actually make them feel like they're belong at the level. So I love that side of it. And then I hit sort of midweek, which is our day off, and then so the first half's about reviewing the game, touch points, leadership sort of stuff, whether it's scenario based. How do we go? Do we lead it well? And then the back half of the week, sort of T2, which is the main training session, that's when I had to get tunnel vision. So what's my prep? These 48 hours I got to get right. So get all your vision done for the opposition, make sure your body's right, have intensity at training. And then I'll sort of go into a game and I love my visualization for say, a couple of blocks at 20 minutes, and I'll visualize sort of my individual game plan, but then I'll visualize sort of scenarios in game we have to go to, just so I know as a leader when they come, I'm ready for them. So that's the way I sort of break it up. And then all the external stuff, it's just about you just got to plan your weeks and make sure you don't sort of do too much where your energy sort of is not peaking at game day. So that's been a bit of a balancing act over the years. Early days, I reckon, you try and probably help in too many areas. Really, when you
say yes too much.
Yeah, and then now you can sort of get better at saying no and sort of focus on what's important.
It's great, mate. It really is. It's so. You're a great leader. I'm just thinking about all the things like a Matthew Pavlich did now, and it's making a lot of sense. Just without realizing, you're a young player just running around. Yeah. You see what they do during the week, and that tunnel vision is so important. That's like you locking into you being the best athlete you can be, whilst being selfless at the front end. Do you miss being a player? I've got when I say a player, not a captain, not having to do all that. Do you miss being able to just? I mean, you're 31 now and you're still playing great footy. The end is near than the start. It's not like that's just the reality. Is there a world where you would love to strip it right back and just be the player again, be the kid that just rocks up on the weekend and just has more tunnel vision? Clearly, you're going to be a leader, but has there ever been a thought now that you go, geez, being a captain takes a lot out of me. I've got a young family. Has that ever crossed your mind?
Sometimes, but I still feel like if I was captain or not, I'd do the exact same thing. I love trying to help people and sort of help the club. So there'll be a time, mate. I'll definitely I'll step down and make sure there's a next leader at the club. Get behind them and really help them. Lead the footy club. But I never see captain as like this title that you got to do all this stuff. It's just. How do we actually win on weekends, and how do we make it the best possible environment possible? So, but yeah, obviously when you have a little one, there's more time there. But it's probably the off-field stuff that is probably the more time-consuming. The stuff throughout the week, with the club and mentoring young guys, leading sort of standards like that. I sort of really enjoy that, and not from a leadership, a captain point of view, but just from trying to help create a culture that people love coming to work.
You've been there, or you've captained since 2019. Correct me if I'm wrong with me, Prep, but I feel like we've done it. You've been a one-club player. You've been through, as I said, I think it was 6 coaches. You've seen a lot of players come and go. You've driven standards. You got to a prelim in 23. You see blokes like Charlie Curnow leave the club. Do you want to be a one-club player? Or has there ever been a thought where the club, if it was to continually go south, that might be an opportunity to present to go home and look and set up the fam?
Oh, look, there's always thoughts across your mind. I think any player, especially when you come from interstate, you always have those moments. Like I've had definitely moments throughout my career where the thought drifts through your mind, especially when you're not going well. But I've always, in a way, I've always just had this tunnel vision of trying to build the club from the ground up, and because I got there in a time when we just won a final against Richmond. So my first year was after that, and then we sort of bottomed out pretty quick after that. So everything's just been a constant build. That's probably why the last sort of 18 months have probably been tough post that prelim run in mid-24, because I think we in a period there we won sort of 20 out of 25 games, and then it's sort of after that it sort of got a bit tough. So everything was on an upwards trend. I was sort of really hoping that, the back half of the year was the time when, this is like we're going to be, around the mark, sort of like that Geelong sort of mould where, you're always around chance to compete. And I'm still bullish, we can get there again. But, to answer your question, like the hard thing is I don't know how long I've got left playing. Like I could be done in a year. I could be, playing for another 6 or 7. So that's the unknown. I'm contracted next year for another year at Carlton, which I love playing for the Carlton Footy Club. So if you asked me right now, I'd say I'd be a one-club player and still as motivated as ever to try and win a flag for Carlton. I actually, to be honest, like that's the beauty of sort of the current landscape of sports science and thing. I could play till I'm 38, so I don't know. So
you certainly could, mate, if you keep putting up these numbers. As I said, averaging about 31 and a couple of snags. And speaking of snags, it'll lighten up a bit because I've gone footy classified mode, but I had to at the start. You've been going forward a lot. That goal, that mark, let's break it down for me, actually. That was on our man, Jezza Cameron. I said, Jezza, what are you doing down there? You're a full forward. You shouldn't be playing full back. But that was a special moment for people that love sport. They love you. They'd seen how hard you've been working. It was a moment that you deserved as well. You've worked so hard. Just break that whole passage of play down because people wouldn't understand what you've done. Speaking about scenarios earlier, you would have known, I'm going to drift forward here. We need a goal.
Yeah, well, I think Jezza might have either had a corked ass or a corked calf, mate, because I didn't get up too high, but I used every bit of energy to try and get up there. So the way I summed up the moment, it was, you don't get too many moments like that in your career. It was sort of euphoric in a way. And for us as a club, it was actually pretty significant to beat a team that I think's a top sort of 2, top 4, genuine contender. And I felt they played pretty well that night too. So for us to match them was huge. But for them to hit the front, I was on the bench with about 3 minutes to go. Then Henry kicked the goal. And I was sort of I was pretty composed at that time. I knew we had time. So I was trying to get out of the lads. We got time here. We don't have to go chaotic. But that passage of play, when you actually break it down, it was just really composed. What the decision making the boys did, they took it offline, ability to go corridor.
We'll play the footage.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure there was a. So we lost the stoppage, Blitzard's mark, and I've actually charged out the stoppage trying to challenge forward, but I ended up manning the mark there. So he marks. So you sort of know in my mind, I'm like, all right, we've got probably about 2:20 left here. So we've got time. So we take away all the marks, kick it long down the line. Weeders or Hainsey spoils it, and then. Ollie Florent grabs it. He shapes corridor to Walshy, I'm pretty sure. Walshy then goes again to Georgie Hewitt. And then, when you get the ball in the middle of the ground, that's where you want to attack. So you want to take it offline. And a lot of players then would blast it, but he sort of took it offline again. I think it was to Newey. I think it was Newey. Watched it a few times, tell me.
Yeah, it's good. I've watched it a few times as well.
And then he hits Gov, and Gov's he's got a beautiful sort of penetrating kick, so he always looks pretty long and it gets through the air quick. But at that time, I'm sort of gone from the mark and I'm like, look, I'm not going to be involved in this play, so I'm just going to try and drift forward and challenge. And in those scenarios, we're in trying to win the game mode, so you sort of do some stuff that is not traditional in your sort of game plan. And And I sort of half go to block Harry to get him to sort of run a jump, but I didn't really do a good job of that. Sam DeConey went through, but then Blitzards, who was on me, was playing a wing at the time, and Ches was sliding down the fat side, so he was sort of caught in between, like, who do I sort of guard here? And my direct guy was already back up the ground. And then, I don't know, I can't even, like, that moment, I don't take a lot of contested marks. I work on my marking a lot, but wouldn't say it's a strength of mine for some of my size. And, just sort of got the sit. And after that, I sort of like, it's funny because I always love reflecting, like, when I watch sporting moments, like when the pressure's on, like do you know when you watch moments, like your heart naturally just goes.
Yeah, like Johnny Wilkinson, like rugby, like you watch what he does and you're like, oh my God, what happens if he misses?
Exactly. So like naturally someone's watching, your heart rate sort of beats. And so I've always, like, when I watch those moments, I always try and put myself in that moment, like, well, how would I act? And you never know until you're in it. But when I marked it, it was weird. Like, I didn't even hear the crowd after that. And then I was so locked in. And I knew the kick I was going to do based off where I marked it. I sort of practiced sort of different kicks. And like set shot, set shot over my career hasn't been my biggest strength. I've done a lot of work on it, but it's something I'm still sort of trying to chip away at. I want to keep kicking more goals. But the snap's been a kick for me that's actually been really consistent with my set shots. And it's always within sort of 25 to 30. I'll try snappers just sort of left of when you're facing goal. And so I was really confident. Then I was just, all right, just speak and pose, take a few deep breaths and put it through. Then after that, then I sort of had this sort of crazy emotion carried on. But then you go from, like, you talk about a leadership point of view, you go from this crazy emotion. It's like, I know there's not much time left. So you go from kicking a goal to, like, all right, we're gonna save the game here. So you go from win the game to save the game. So then you start trying to organise players and knowing that we've still got probably a minute left. So, and that was a chaotic sort of last minute. Like, we had some big moments. Like, everyone, obviously, that moment helped us get in front, but the other guys had huge moments to help us win the game. Like, Weeders had a massive moment in the D50 to get it out wide. Kempy had a huge moment on the wing. And then we found a way to win. And, it was just winning games that are close when you've got a packed G, like the emotion you feel, and you've been in some big games, like you can't match that sort of feeling in life, can you? It's just like this euphoric sort of noise and feeling. And that's what I'm sure everyone that says that, but you miss that when you retire or you finish up, is that next half an hour is the best time of your life. Like, you're hugging the boys, you're absolutely gassed, you're getting around the fans, you sing the song, and then that sort of next sort of 20 minutes in the rooms, we have a shower with the lads and that. It's just a fun time to be a footy player. So
it's so good. And you deserve that moment. Like, there's a moment for spuds like me, fringe. Then you're the man that kicked that goal. That wouldn't really sink in until probably you get your phone and see there's a million text messages and all the interviews you got to do and watch the highlight. But that moment is something that is so special. Even the commentators, I can't remember who it was, but it's like, of course it's him, Of course it's him putting them on their back for that moment. It's a special moment.
Yeah. You realise it was a big moment, but then probably the days after you realise it was a bigger moment than you thought. But then at the same time, mate, it's like my head goes to, like, as much as that moment was great, I enjoyed it for 48 hours. Then I was like, reality is, like, we're coming from a long way back this year. Like, let's get back to work, not get ahead of yourself. And realise that as a club, I think at that time we were 3-8. So it's like, we're 3-8. Let's actually just tone it down a bit here and let's get back to work and let's get some respect back and try and make something out of this year. So
it's a beauty of the nature. I mean, the nature of the beast, I should say. It's like, you get ahead of yourself and then you get beat the next week. So you got to, like, bring it back. And obviously that didn't happen. You've been on fire since. But mate, great moment, great breakdown, and it was good. It was, poor Jezza. I was watching, I was like, oh no. But you're right, because the winger drifted in. Blickav's was caught in the middle, which gave you a little bit of space to then get a leap, take it. Let's just go back to set shots. You speak about it hasn't been too, I think I had some numbers there before, but you're getting a lot of looks. That's the most important thing. Who are you talking to? What are you doing? What's your routine? People out there wouldn't understand how hard you are working on it.
Yeah.
The drop punt, the ball drop, the route, everything, the snaps, like what goes through your head during the week and then on game day when you make these decisions, whether to turn it around the corner or drop punt? Because sometimes they say it's between the years.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's routine. But what is it you feel like it is?
It's a bit of both. And I've had periods, like early in my career, I really struggled with goal kicking. Then I had a middle part where I actually I did so much work and I reckon I had a two-year period where I didn't miss many goals. But just like the longer you go, it's just like you just got to keep putting the reps. Like I remember end of 2021, like I did a whole off-season training block, which was pretty obsessive, but I did a lot of goal kicking and even for me now, like I've been pretty inconsistent with my drop punt goal kicking this year, so and set shots. So even like on the bye, I went back and looked at a lot of old vision, sort of refined a few things. So I've been putting a fair bit of work in over the bye just to get back, because you got to, whenever you got to kick, you got to want it. You got to want the moment, and you got to. And the reality is, in my position, if I go forward, like you want to impact the scoreboard, like that's how you have massive impact. And I'm getting a lot of looks this year, so that's the exciting part. But from like, I'm not one to giving too much goal kicking advice, but for me,
I
it's
saw
just
the Dunstall clip.
Yeah, that was
having a good laugh. You boys with Guinea and Tommy Mitch.
That was hilarious. I did love that. It's yeah, I can't say I'm giving.
You should reach out to Dunstall and say, mate, give us a couple of tips.
Yeah, I can't say I'm giving Dunstall too much advice, mate. So I love the clip there, but no, I'm big on like you got to find what works for you. It's like free throw shooting. Like everyone's got a different routine, so find your routine that works. And there's certain parts of the ground where I know where I'll kick a snap versus drop punt. And like I said before, like snap for me has been pretty consistent over a fair period of time. So when I know I'm within range, I'll kick a snap. But I'm still keep working on my set shot routine, and they'll keep evolving, and done a fair bit of work. So hopefully in the back half of the year I can kick a bit straighter.
What is the routine? Can you share it?
Oh no, it's like it's interesting. Like some people like looking behind the goals, picking out a target. I actually like picking out a spot in the ground just so you get sort of flow in your routine. Some guys like a shorter run up. Some guys like a longer run up. Like it's for me, I've actually shortened my run up a little bit. So we'll see, mate. Proof in the pudding. By the end of the year, I can kick a few more, but I'm going to do a fair bit of reps in the back half of the year to try and make sure I get on top of it, because the most important thing is when the moments come, you want to be able to take them. And obviously to a good moment against Geelong, but then last quarter against Essendon was actually a really important time of the game, and I missed a set shot that's really gettable. So that would have put us up by 2 goals, which hopefully would run around the game, but I missed that, and all of a sudden they're back in the game. So yeah, kicking goals is big in terms of momentum in footy.
It's good reflection, mate. It really is. But yeah, that moment against Geelong was some of the best stuff. It was just, you're right, packed house at the G, two big clubs. My next question for you is, you've been through the highs and lows. What's kept you at Carlton? Your commitment to Carlton's been massive throughout the journey, but what's kept you there?
Yeah, I think first, just like getting the opportunity to go there. Like it's
pick 13. I looked at the list that went up ahead of you. I'm not going to pot a few blokes, but there's a few blokes that shouldn't have been ahead of you. Bont went 4. It was a really good draft. I think Boydo went 1.
Yeah,
but I looked at a few names, and you slid a little bit.
Yeah, I was a bit heavy on the eye, Tommy. So I was probably lucky to go 13 in the end. So, but no, my whole draft year, like I was probably a bolter in the end. Like I was start of the year, I wouldn't have got drafted, so I had a good under 18s year, and but I was pretty thick, mate. I was
big boy.
I was a big boy, so loved my tucker and didn't really know what it took. So, but yeah, it was sort of the thing I reckon that's driven me is probably the fact that we were bottomed out. Like I was just like, how can you build something from the ground up? That's always motivated me. Get leadership positions. It's sort of I've always liked that, and I just always respected people that have done that in the past, and so that was been one. The other one is just like once you get entrenched with a footy club, you build such strong relationships and friends, and basically everyone I know in Melbourne's I've met through the Carlton Footy Club. Like so, and the club's been so great to myself and my family. So there's also that sort of element. And then the other thing is like, we get to play in front of big games all the time. Like the Carlton Army is crazy. Like and said it before, like there's the extremes of Carlton. Like you're either getting absolutely whacked or you're getting pumped up. But the reality is like you want to play in big games, you want to play in front of big crowds, and I feel like it's a privilege to play at Carlton. So for me, it's just still that tunnel vision. So how do we keep getting to work? But that's always been my driving factor, and ultimately, to win a flag at Carlton, like that would just be off its head. So that's what drives me, and the loyalty element, and just working out through all the tough times and trying to find solutions. End of the day, you'll end of your career. Hopefully I'm a Carlton premiership player, but would have learned so many hard lessons through adversity as well. So that's the way I sort of summarise it all.
When it is all said and done, what do you want to be remembered as then? Have you thought about that?
Probably someone that impacted people, whether you're a player at the club or a Carlton supporter in a positive way, and just someone that when things were tough, always found a way to dig in. So, but realistically, I think your legacy comes from the way you play and the way you show up, not only in good times but through the tough times. But a real measure is, did you impact people in a positive way? And that's always been sort of the way I've sort of operated in life. So if you can
great
impact,
way to look at it, mate. It's a great way to look at it, especially if, how many guys out there that haven't even played a final that are superstars, let alone won a flag, and then you carry this burden with you. Like, I never won one. But if you look at it that way, it's a bit different.
Yeah. And
not that you're not going to stop trying to strive for that.
It's like my goal is, without a doubt, to win a premiership. That's always been my goal. But along the way, how you carry yourself and how you show up, but also impact people. And it's weird. I get a lot of joy. Like, I love seeing young kids and seeing them smile, like bringing joy. And when you see them at the footy, that's like, you remember when you were like as a kid, like I idolised AFL players. And when you see like a little kid with your number on the back, like for me, that's like I find that so special, because in a way they've connected to something you're doing out in the footy field. So that always makes me smile.
It brings back memories when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You think about being country lads, it's so euphoric when you met your first player.
Yeah.
You still remember the moment, the interaction, and then to think for you, all these guys that are rolling around and you're their idol, it is cool, mate. Well, let's talk about optimism and positive, the reinforcements. 2023 was a crazy year.
Yeah.
Incredible run. 10 wins in a row, 9 in a row, whatever it was. You hit the finals with pace. Everyone's written you off. And then you get to a prelim. Looking back now, what did it feel like to be a part of that playing group, and how much belief and momentum did that group really have?
Yeah, it was sort of it was a crazy ride. It was it was probably the best 10 to 12 week period of my life in terms of emotion. But it sort of probably started in 22, because when Vossi first came in, we were a club that was struggling for a bit of stability and a bit of belief and confidence, but we actually got on a good run at the start of 22, which I felt like as a group really sort of gave us a bit of belief and confidence. Like, all right, we're starting to get there now. And that year sort of didn't end the great in terms of the way we sort of bowed out, but I felt like we took a fair bit of positivity going into the next year and learned some good lessons. And then it was weird. I think we won maybe the first 4 games of 2023. So we're actually going all right, but we were playing okay. And then we actually had a real lean run throughout the middle of the year. And that got really hard. That was a really tough period. And that was I think it was well documented. Went down to Ed and Charlie's down in
that's what you talking
down
about.
in Belbray. Yeah, had a couple of beers around the campfire and sort of locked in, had a few beers midweek. We actually lost the week after that. But
people forget that though. I feel like everyone thought that was the fix.
Yeah, but we sort of I really sort of tried to galvanise and focus on a few things, and then we went on this run and we just won so many different ways. But this momentum we felt, and Shane O'Sullivan is sort of like the club legend. He's like the sort of like the grandfather of the Carlton Footy Club. He's just he's the best person, one of the best people I've ever met. But he always said to me throughout my whole journey, he goes, just wait until momentum builds at this joint. You'll experience something that you'll never experience in your life. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to, can't wait to see it. Yeah. And in 23, just got to experience it. It was just this crazy run. And then obviously getting to the finals. That was our first finals as a group. We hadn't played finals in my career there, and a lot of the guys there at the time hadn't played. So it was just this sort of unexpected, what's this going to feel like? And then we won two finals by under a goal. And that was just I've never heard the G. Like that Melbourne final in 23, I've never heard the G like that. And a lot of people in footy that have been around, like Andrew Russell's won 6 flags at 3 different clubs. Obviously, Vossi's a three-peated at Brisbane. Both of them said they've never heard the G like that day. It was just I could feel the vibration out in the ground. It was just a cool moment. So, yeah, and then you get that addictive feeling. It's mate, this is what footy's about. It's September is where you want to play. This is where you really want to be amongst it. And if you can find a way to get some home finals at the G, that's that euphoria. So, and then obviously the prelim was a crazy moment as well. It was sort of got 5 goals up at the first quarter, and it was sort of far out. We're actually getting close here, but that was probably our biggest problem in the end. We sort of jumped them, and then everyone's minds probably drifted into we're close to a grand final rather than stick back into what we got to do. But yeah, it's cool moments to look back on. But I just get this feeling. I was you just want to keep experiencing those moments. That's what drives you. But it was pretty cool way we turned that year around in the end.
The Blake Acres goal stands out for me. Is that like a moment in time where, I think footy clubs always print off moments and they put them around the club. But you'd think it's not just him, it was Doc's kick. I think it was Weeders might have went inside. But But that passage of play in that moment, and you talk about nearly missing as well. Like he went around the corner and nearly missed Blakey boy. But that was like, I could imagine the roar there must be one of the loudest you've ever heard.
Yeah, that was as loud. I just remember because it's sort of like you knew the game was nearly there. And that was just an amazing passage of play, and sort of they'll probably get talked about forever, that play. But the Sheriff, Big Blake Yeagers, he stands up in big moments. He actually had a big goal the game before against Sydney. It was in the last quarter. So he's actually a very intelligent footy player. He just finds a way to get in the right spots and think ahead of the game. And he did that. And that was a moment. You talk to any sort of Carlton fan that was there that moment. It was sort of like a cool game to be a part of.
Mate, it was a cool game to watch. I've got a little story here. So, and this is Train's Treasures segment where it enters now.
Here we go.
So I've done a little bit of digging, but you did win 9 in a row, maybe 10. I don't know how many you won in a row, but you won a lot. But it was looking very sour, dour, whatever you want to call it. And I've got good mail from a friend that works in hospitality that none other than the man himself, Pete Cripps, had booked a surf trip away about halfway through the year. But real subtle kind of operation, and just didn't book the flights because just didn't want the media to find out. And all of a sudden, so accommodation booked, surf trip, but then just held on the flights just in case. You win 1, you win 2, you win 3. You end up winning 9, and you've got your brother just on the phone to the flight centre going, hang on, just hold the flights. We're just waiting to see. And in the end, I don't know if you went or you didn't, but it was one of the longest surf trip kind of planning moments of your family's career. Is there any truth to this trip?
No, there's a bit of truth to that. It wasn't in September. The trip was the first week in October. So it would have been the week after the grand final. And so like mid-year, obviously it was looking pretty grim, and two of my brothers are real close. We're like, let's go on a surf trip. And the only time my brother could do it, my older one, was the first week of October, because he's obviously the Cripps racing stuff, and that all ramps up in the spring. So he's like, this is my only time. And I was like, look, you go ahead and book accommodation, but like I'm not going to book flights until I know like we're fully out of the race here. And got closer and closer. They'd already booked their flights, and like, what do you reckon? I was like, nah, mate, we got to hold off here. So,
and they thought you were mad. They're like, yeah, like, mate, you can't get there from here.
They're like, pull your head in, mate. And the way my mind works, it's like, no, we're still a chance here. Like, we get on a run, and sure enough, and by the end, we got to like, I reckon 2 weeks out, and they're getting that up and about. They're like, mate, we might have to cancel the trip here. We might be in the GF. So, but yeah. Lucky enough. Well, I shouldn't say I wish I didn't go on the surf trip, because I wish I was celebrating that. But yeah, I went to the Maldives, and I think I flew out the night after the grand final in the end. So yeah, I was pretty gutted, to be honest. It was probably the hollowest week I've had after the prelim loss. So it's amazing when you get so close to something and you don't quite get there. Like I remember being as flat as a tack, like it was sort of flat as I've ever been. But that is very good mail by you.
Yeah,
Tommy. I'm impressed with that.
It was a good story. The way I'll throw your brother in there. You helped me out with it. It was a good one. I was thinking, what are the chances? Imagine that, all your brothers excited to go on a surf trip. Obviously a bit flat that the season's not going the way it is, and then having to tell the guy that's booking the flights to just hold.
Because they kept planning
12, I think it was like 12 weeks in a row. Like, mate, you just got to wait again. Got to wait again.
Nah, that's spot on. So
let's get to the cheese and kisses. So this is where I go out to Mon and I ask a couple of questions. This is a fun one. So essentially, I go out to your beautiful wife and I ask her a question, and you need to guess her response, and then I'll tell you her response.
Is this about all topics?
About you.
Right.
So the first question, for example, is what's his best physical feature? And you have to guess what she would say. So it's only 5 questions, but I always enjoy this one. What is your best physical feature, you reckon? What do you think she'd say?
Wouldn't be the calves, mate. I don't know.
She has said the answer and then said, not his tiny calves, lol.
We're on the same wavelength then. She'd probably would have stitched me up.
No, she's been on. I said, you got to be honest with me. So he gets it half right. Absolutely rattled him.
I wouldn't know what she would have said.
Come on, mate.
I'll probably don't mind keeping the shirt off every now and then in the summer, mate. So, but what'd she go?
She's gone the arms.
Yeah,
she's gone
the arms. That's good to know.
There you go. You've gone with the full rig. She's just gone with the arms.
Pretty happy with yourself.
All right. What's the one thing that you can't live without? More serious one, this one.
What I can't live without?
It's more of a recovery-based thing.
Yeah, I love me sauna.
You said the red light therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, love
Elite
it.
unit.
He's all over
Now,
it.
this is a funny one. This is good by Mon. Really funny. I wasn't sure if I should ask this one. Who would Cripps' hall pass be or celebrity crush? She's got two there.
I actually don't even.
The second one's great.
I actually don't even know what she would say.
Come on, mate. There's got to be someone in front of mine here. Someone you might have talked about.
No, I actually don't know. What she got? Give us the.
Jessica Alba's one.
Yeah, that was. I definitely was a big fan in Jessica Alba early days. She's aged pretty well, hasn't she?
She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's won the Rixies, Jessica.
Has she?
Yeah.
Tommy.
So she's storied Rix because she
You might even
tagged
tune
it.
into Tommy
Went
Talks.
back to the doesn't reply anymore to the account.
Yeah,
but
Jessica Alba would be right, and the other one.
have a throw at the stumps.
How good are we talking? Like we talking?
Grouse. Absolutely rattled him, Mon.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to give me something. Just one.
Give us like Aussie or
Spends a lot of time in Sydney.
maybe Sydney Sweeney.
Bang. There you go. He knows who he likes, Arrow.
Yeah.
He knows who he likes. She goes, Jessica Alba, or throwing Sydney Sweeney in there these days. She has been popping up lately. What's one thing that he does around the house that just drives you crazy? So something that you do that pisses Mon off.
Oh, it'd be a fair bit, I reckon. It'd be the dishes in the sink for sure.
He will say that he does nothing around the house, but he never puts anything away once he uses it.
That's fair, sure.
Yeah, that's most blokes.
Yeah.
And then this is a nice one. What do you love the most about Cripper?
Is she taking the piss here, or
Nah,
is she
she's
being
been
nice?
genuine. Yeah.
I'd say probably try to keep things pretty positive or build people up.
She's mentioned, I love that he puts 100% into anything that he does. He's passionate and his priority is helping people to be the best they can be. There you go. Bang.
Mon. Thanks, Mon.
There
Appreciate
you go.
that.
Thank you, Mon, for that. That's elite. Now, it leads me in perfectly because you have this passion to help people. I remember your Brownlow speech around some performance anxiety stuff. And, you just got this huge ability to want to help people with a lot of stuff on your shoulders already. Where does it all come from, you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you get so much joy out of helping people. Like it's just done things in the past without the intention of feeling good. But when I've done some things, I've just felt unbelievable in terms of just the impact you can have. And I really think it stems from just growing up in a country community, and grew up in a town of 800 people in Northampton. So realistically, when we used to go to the footy club, you just knew everyone and everyone looked after everyone. Nothing was too big of an ask. If something needed to be done, the community chips in. So, and I remember growing up, all my mates' parents were basically my parents. We'd had sort of, 8 different sets of parents basically and used to run around amok. So I think that element. The other element I reckon is when I first got to the club, I had a lot of sort of senior players help me in my journey. And I just will never forget certain players. Michael Jamison was a big one. Juddy, Murph, Andrew Walker was another one. All these guys gave me bits of sort of wisdom and advice. And I just always remember I still remember that now and I'm 31. So now I can do that for these guys. So, and then probably the other one is just knowing that probably appreciating the position I'm in to, help other people, whether I know them or not. But the lessons I learned, I love trying to help my close family and friends, whether it's around, the health stuff or mindset stuff, but then just the people I don't know, how I can sort of give back. And I've always just enjoyed that. Done some stuff with My Room, the charity, and I've done some awesome things with some families and kids, and I got a lot of joy out of that. So that's the stuff I really love seeing, especially those kids, seeing them smile. So.
No, you're a good man, mate. I love the way you operate, and you brought back some flashbacks there with the community. I think about growing up as well, all your mates' parents are like your parents, for a weekend there where they take you away. You reflect now and you go, geez, they looked after me as a young fella. You've looked after a lot of people, and this is a story that I've found out. But recently, and I know you won't mind me bringing this up, but again, a bit of research here that you'll love. But recently, you've been asked to help a Year 12 student out with performance anxiety. The mail is there's a student out there that was quite intelligent, but really struggling with performance anxiety around exams. because exams are where you get your grades. And if you don't get your grades, you don't get your results. And therefore, he won't get into university and all these things he wants to do later in life. And it got to the point where he reached out to yourself because he spoke, heard you speak publicly about, your own kind of stuff that you've gone through. And you actually took the time out of your day and week to go meet this guy and actually help him with some key points on performance anxiety. Just it's an amazing story when I heard it, and I wanted to bring it up. I know that you wouldn't have brought it up, but just kind of sums up the bloke you are. I'm keen to just talk about that and ask, what was your advice to this guy that was, and to everyone out there that is struggling with performance anxiety?
Yeah, you've done some good research there. Yeah, it's like everyone faces it at some point. Like it's performance anxiety. I always think about I sort of sum it up in the arena. Like everyone's got their arena. Like whether you're an athlete, you step in MCG. There's the performance anxiety. Whether you're doing a podcast for some people, whether in the media, whether you're doing an exam, whether you're going to present in front of people. Like everyone's got their own arena that they're stepping into, and performance anxiety is pretty common. It's I still remember early in my career, public speaking, I was absolutely terrible at. I just got so nervous where I actually went and saw a speech pathologist at one point. I couldn't even get words out. I was like a two-stroke motor. I kept stuttering. Yeah. And so I had to do a lot of work and I had to do a fair bit of stuff, but that was all based off performance anxiety. And then from a performance element, I've always been interested in the mindset, like the mind. Like the mind's the bridge between being a good player to being consistently, at your best. And did a lot of work with a great mentor and friend of mine, Ben Crowe, which a lot of people know what Crowe, but worked with him pretty closely for 3 years straight and just sort of summarised performance anxiety, big on courage mantras. So like, how do you reframe fear into courage? Because they can't sort of coexist with each other, and learn a lot of good lessons with that. And that, to be honest, that's one of my biggest passions. Like what I'll do post footy is I love this space. But yeah, this young fella reached out through one of his mentors, and I just caught up with him for a coffee and just sort of got a bit of a summary of how he's feeling, but just talked to him a bit about those courage mantras. And, if you're without any performance anxiety, if you do the work, it gives you the confidence to be able to go out there. And then it's just your self-talk and what you say to yourself in those moments that will allow your sort of potential to come out or feel overwhelm you. But Bowl reports, I got a great message a couple of months later. He did great in exams, and just one thing I said to him that really resonated with him that said, I've done the work, I'm ready to go, and back yourself in. And he did well. So that was they're the sort of stories that with moments I sort of love sort of doing. And post footy, I'd love to sort of help more people out in that, because everyone faces it. And there's still times now I'll step out in the footy field and you still have that little bit of anxiety or that sometimes doubt or fear may creep in, but how you can keep reframing your self-talk and keep getting after it. And that's sort of what it's all about, to have the courage to get out there.
Nah, it's brilliant. Back to work, is that the main message?
Yeah, back to work, do it with purpose, but then I think your inner dialogue and what you tell yourself is so important.
So what should you tell yourself? Like, say if that young kid got to the exam table in that instance, or, someone's got a speech and they're about to go out there and all of a sudden halfway through they go, and they start to choke up. Yeah. The mantra would be to say.
I think the first thing, you got to take a deep breath, like regulate, just take a few big deep breaths, probably a longer exhale than an inhale. And then think about, what's all the work I've done here, or what's a courage mantra I can say. So, for example, one of my mantras is, I've done the work, I'm built for this shit. So like sometimes like when, fear will creep in, or, it's a big moment coming up, you say that. It's like, I've done the work, I'm built for this shit. And so that was just something with Crowe I came up with. He helped me reflect on it. And it's just reframed instead of like, what if I fail? It's like, no, like, let's actually go for it here. Let's actually step in, and I've done the work. So you might not execute the moment, but I'd rather go out the moment and fail rather than, retreat and fail.
Set shot, miss, say that to yourself. If you lag, come back, get another moment.
So, exactly. So let's say you have a set shot, you miss it. And sometimes like you might get to the top of the set shot and they're just like, what do you miss? Then you reframe it again, or you miss a set shot, you get one 2 minutes later. Like, what are you telling yourself then? So, and it doesn't always pay off, but the more that you step into that space, I reckon
brilliant. This is so much. This is just great advice for anyone watching and listening. I love the stuff that you can take to any workplace as well. A lot of people watching would be athletes, but a lot of people would be in the office today, and they might have a big task or whatever they're doing at work. Brilliant, mate. Speaking of off-field ventures, there's a lot that you're doing, and I probably don't know about all of them, so I'd love you to bring them all up. But the most recent is the Alivia. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, Alivia, same thing, mate.
Yeah. I hope she doesn't leave me, but because it's the most premium product going around. You want to talk about who Alivia is and what you've done and who's involved and the wellness space that you are going to be in now and post-football with all the other stuff that you're going to do?
Yeah, it's probably the backstory is I'll keep it pretty short because I don't want to tell it a few times, but it's I was lucky enough when I was in the US in 2022 to catch up with a high performance psychologist, Michael Voss, and he sort of, because I love that space and I listen to him a lot. I sort of said to him, like, I've sort of flipped a lot of rocks in over different sort of areas in high performance, but nutrition's one I want to do a full deep dive into. And I was like, because he gets the best in the world. I was like, who's the best in your contact network? And he connects me with a guy called Derek Johnson, and I've been working with him for 4 years. And a lot of sort of did a lot of testing about how my body works, and then making diet changes and supplement changes. And I just loved it. I was like, I'd love to be able to back to the helping people. I'd love to be able to bring something to life where I could bring it to Australia and really help people that are really close to me, but sort of help other athletes and other people in general around sort of energy and wellness. And I sort of put on the back burner because I was like, look, I'm playing footy. I won't have much time here, but I got lucky enough to sort of get introduced to some great people last year who shared a similar passion, and we sort of got together with Bainey, my manager, and sort of said, all right, let's make this work. And for me, it was like, there's two things we're going to get this off the ground that for me, it's big for me. And first was got to get HACCP approval, which means athletes can take it. So it meant it gets tested for all sort of banned substances. That wasn't just for athletes to take, but it was also give people in the public the confidence if athletes can take it, it's as clean as possible. And the second one was I want Derek overseeing all our products. He's the person that's a guru in this space. He's up to date with the modern sort of research and science, and obviously got 30 years of experience. So when he says something's good, we're sort of putting that out there, and just stem from that, mate. So it's been going for about 4 months. It sort of was about a 12-month sort of process before that, and at the moment we got 5 products. Looking to bring a sleep gummy out the next sort of 4 to 8 weeks. Yeah. But the whole sort of base of it and is just around sort of energy, so hydration, performance, recovery. They're sort of the foundations, and it's the real sort of the key pillars to performance. So we just want to focus on that at the start, and then slowly we'll build out. But I've loved it, mate. And obviously you're in the business space with Ricks and everything you're doing with the podcast. But for me, it's actually given me a buzz that footy's sort of gives me as well. It's sort of that entrepreneur of going all in on something, not knowing if you're going to succeed, but doing it with a good group of people and trying to help people. So that's the start of it, and we're looking to sort of keep building it out. So it's exciting.
Brilliant. It's such a big space now, isn't it? I feel like everybody's trying to level up there and look after their health and find little wins, whether they're athletes or not. And that stuff that you're talking about, it's brilliant that you've got Derek overseeing all that. You need that credibility.
Exactly.
Gives you confidence as well. No, I've got the best product on the market. That's great. Well, make sure everyone goes and checks out the website. Read the website out just for people watching.
Yep. So aliviawellness.com.au. As you can see, Tommy's got a great hoodie on there. So
comfy as could you sell the hoodies on there?
Yeah, the hoodies, the shirts, everything, mate. So if you want to jump on board and support it, go for it. But it's exciting, mate. And I think, like you said, with the health and wellness space, like everyone wants to feel good, everyone wants to build more energy, but I think the biggest thing is just got to keep educating people how to do it, and that's what we'll try and keep doing.
I saw an ad pop up the other day that you've just signed up with another wellness centre. Is that? Can we talk about that yet, or is that too early days?
It's coming out in I think it's under construction at the moment. So it's sort of been in the works for probably 18 months. Sort of co-founded that with a group of sort of other people, but I sort of got approached with that one, and I sort of love the energy sort of longevity space, and obviously passionate about it from a performance point of view to try and play as long as I can. But still wellness. Where there's a wellness place opening up in the city in hopefully October, November. But got approached through Bainey and another good mentor of mine that they thought really interested me, and so they sort of brought together a group of sort of 6 to 8 co-founders, all specialise in a different area to try and create a space where people can go there and same sort of thing, build energy, build a community. But if you want to prioritise sort of longevity and understand your own health, to get after it. So that's exciting, mate. These are, I suppose, I feel lucky in a position I'm in. You get these great opportunities sort of come your way, and in the end, if you can do something that, gives you that buzz but also helps people, then that's what I love doing.
Brilliant, mate. It's right on your wheelhouse, that as well. Well, speaking of business, we've got the best in the business right next to us. We've got our friends here at Inglewood Coffee Roasters. How many coffees would you have a day?
Well, I like 2 to 3 a day. Yeah, don't mind my coffee. What's your order, mate? What do you go for?
I'm just a latte man. I'll probably get 4 in at the moment. It depends on how busy the day is, but 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
These are yours from our friends at Inglewood. They're the best beans in the business. I'm not sure if you've got a coffee machine at home.
Thanks,
we'll
mate.
to sort you out. What is your order? You long black?
Long black, man. Dash of oat milk. So like to keep nice and lean, mate. So don't mind the long black.
I should cut the milk out a little bit.
It just depends, mate. Yeah, no, each to their own. But if I have too much milk, it just doesn't sit well in my gut. So that's what I've gone with, mate. So
it's Toby Green. He's a long black man. I remember that. I've got some Rixies here for you as well. Now, I looked online. You've always been a great supporter of Ricks. I reckon the last pair you had were the Nola at a wedding.
Yeah.
So I've mixed it up a little bit today. I've got the Soho Dark Cherry. So I've got 2 options for you. Soho Dark Cherry.
The cherries have gone well, haven't they?
Yeah. And I've got the Smoke because you've just been smoking everybody lately. So there's the Soho Smoke. And I've also looked after Mon. She's got the Madison Black. I've got to make sure I look after the Cheese and Kisses after that elite work.
Now you say it, Tommy, I'm not someone that just likes taking, so I thought I'd give back. So I've actually brought in a nice little gift pack myself.
Have a look at this.
So this is for you, mate. Or if happy to. I'm not sure if you give any giveaways on this show, but I'm happy to give away.
I haven't done a giveaway in a while, actually. So what have you?
So what we've done here, mate? We've gone the Alivia duffel bag. I thought I'd throw in a couple of essential amino acids just if you're hitting the gym.
Yes.
Bit of hydration in the morning just before you have your coffee.
Oh,
so I know it'll go well with the coffee.
Yep.
So we got that. That's just the entree, mate. So
that's entree, yep. 7-course
then chuck in.
Oh, that's big. The
Lever hoodie.
They are that comfy.
Tommy likes it, so I thought the other people might like it. We got a little shaker.
Protein shake.
Yeah. And lastly, I'm going to sign this. So.
Oh, is that a match worn? Is that got
not a match worn, but it's definitely a player issue one. So
that's
I'm
going
to sign that. So
that's a GPS.
It's yours if you want it, mate. But if you want to do a giveaway, I'm happy to give away on the Tommy Talk show, mate. So.
I can't take all that off you personally. I'll go online and buy one of those bags and get some more product off you because I've already gone through the other stuff. But mate, thank you. This is let's give this away. Let's give this away online.
Yep.
Why don't we collab? We'll go social media for it. Osmerican Aces, Alivia, and we'll both shout it out. We'll just throw everything in there. We'll throw in some Inglewood coffee beans, some Rixies, but that's elite by you. A sign, and just show me that jersey because people don't understand this. I've had discussions with people before, but this is just for people out there that want to. This is the rarest jersey you can get. This GPS vest at the back or GPS little patch. You can't get these anywhere on the street. So this is a genuine, you might not have worn it in a game, but this is as good as it gets. So you'll sign that. Mate, thanks so much for that. Hey, talk about giving back. You're just too good to us. You're too good to us, mate, honestly. Well, yeah, thank you. That's elite stuff. Even those bags. I need a new gym bag. All right, mate. Well, let's round out the show. You've rattled me there. I think that might be the first. I don't know if anyone's ever brought on a gift harrow and given it away. This bloke, he's built differently. I'll give you the tip. We've got Rick's Quickfire, and then I've got the Aces Clubhouse questions to finish. And also, I got you some Rick's hats there for you, mate.
Hats, mate.
That's I know you love a hat. So they're our Country Club exclusives. The green one, end of financial year sale. So you can't get that unless you jump online on Rick's end of financial year sale. And the blue one is an exclusive. I think it might have just dropped. Righto. You got to put the Rixies on for this segment if you're comfortable.
And the hat, do you want the hat on as well?
Yeah, go the hat, go whatever hat you want. Like I thought I'd bring you the blue one because you're a blue bagger. What do we got here? Okay, we've got 10 random ones here. I think we have, which would be good.
What are we going to go here? I'm going to go the smokes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I think you had the brown ones on last time I saw you rocking some shades.
Want to make this hat a little bit bigger, mate. Got a big head.
Yeah. And while Cripps is trying that on, I just want to say the shout out to everyone that's getting in the comments consistently, sending these pods on, subscribing. We really appreciate it. But our Aces Clubhouse, I went to our loyal listeners and everyone that's involved, and I asked you guys your questions for Cripps. I'm going to read a few of them out after the Rixie Quickfire.
All right, let's do it.
Here we go. A hot one off the top. Did Sam Doherty's comments at the start of the year piss you off?
Gave him some good feedback behind closed doors, but it's a tough gig what he's doing. So always Yeah, it's always tough when players get in the meter, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't be knocking your old boys. How much does winning a Brownlow change your life?
The euphoria of the moment's crazy, and you definitely changes, but you soon get back to work pretty quick, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Favourite WA beach to take the Rixies?
I like Leighton Beach. Yeah,
Yes.
the orange box, so that's the A1 for me.
Chili scrambled on the grass.
Ooh, can't beat it.
Griffin Logue taught me that. That's amazing. Should they keep State of Origin in AFL?
Yes.
Or should they move the date?
Nah, keep the date. I think a couple of weeks before the season. It sounds like the season's getting pushed back, so I reckon maybe start of March, perfect time. But mid-season wouldn't work. Blokes need a rest in the season.
Any stories from State of Origin that we haven't heard?
Nah, not really. We had to go to couple. We had a good session afterwards, which was the best part of it. To be honest, you get both teams together. So, more. Not really. Actually,
Who was one bloke you become mates with that you weren't expecting to be mates
I
with?
actually had a great chat with Joshy Battle. Yeah, me and Joshy Battle sort of connected with. So obviously Tommy Barras, good mates with Big Tommy B. So he had a few beers with him. He was a great guy.
Love it. Funniest teammate of all time at Carlton?
There's a couple. Matty Cottrell would be up there, I reckon. He's a prankster and just always doing some random stuff. So I got Cots.
Love it. Best place you've ever travelled in your life?
I'm going to say Whistler in Canada.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Which brother gives more, Dan or Josh?
I'm gonna go Dan. Just respect the eldest.
Bit of work to do, Joshy.
Nah, Josh, you live, mate.
Favorite player from another club at the moment?
I love Cozzy. Yeah, I reckon obviously playing Origin with him, but he just does stuff and no one else can do.
Who was your favourite player growing up?
Benny Cousins.
Love it. And then best mentor you've ever had outside of football and family?
Oh, I'd probably say Ben Crow's probably had the biggest impact on me.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And while I've got Morgs at the back. Morgs, can you bring in this T-shirt? I just want to bring it in while I'm looking at you before I get to the Aces Clubhouse. I want to just get a reaction when I throw it in. She throw it straight to Cripper. I want to get your reaction straight away. Do we start selling these, mate? Do we start selling these?
Hey, like I said with Carlton, mate, there's no in the middle. It's either the extreme. So I'll let you dictate that, Tommy. But
I reckon we start selling them now. And if you want some, I think the 100K boys have got about 1,000. So you get online. I think Cripper will sign this one as well. We'll throw this in the giveaway as well, Morgsy. That's elite stuff. All right. Thank you for playing our Rick's Quickfire. Let's finish it off. Aces Clubhouse. Here we go. I'm going to read them out quickly. If they're horrific, we get rid of them. We keep them. If not, how do you find juggling football and general life with a young child? Also, did that change anything about how you go about your football?
Mine takes a fair bit of heavy lifting. If you ask her, nothing's changed my end, but I'll try to say I've trimmed up a few things, but it's probably helped me, I think. Yeah.
Love it. Jack Smith, how much did Colgate pay you to be the big dog? Because it seems to be every second ad at the moment.
Not going to lie, I've got to nearly tune into Fox Footy so I don't see myself in every second ad at the moment on Channel 7.
I can't believe you got the gig over me with Colgate. I put 2 tubes on a day. All right. N. Jamasi, have you ever considered a trade to chase a premiership considering recent team performances? Not a crack at you or the Blues. I'm sure premiership is the ultimate goal, which you said earlier, for any footballer. So I figured you might have to do that at some point if the club were to, go backwards.
I still got tunnel vision at the moment to try and get one at the Blues.
Campbell Soup, what's the biggest and funniest spray you've copped in your younger years at Carlton?
I was late to a meeting in my first year by 2 minutes. Got stuck at a train stop with they just go past. Robbie Wiley, like at the end of the meeting, kept everyone back and absolutely sprayed me. But one of the best things I ever received, and he was right. So get there early.
That's brilliant. Aiden Edwards, what's the biggest lesson you've learned as a leader during a tough season?
Always show up. Always show up with good energy.
Did West Coast ever try lure you back with a huge offer? Can we talk about an offer that's come your way that you've knocked back early days?
I've actually never. I've never seen another club's offer, so I've never actually entertained anything from that end. Yeah,
that's fantastic work, yeah. Bainey just keeping his cards close to his chest. And I think that's about it. We've got a Blues fan here, True Blue T, so I better go. What do you do pre-game to help with your performance? Maybe what you eat as well?
Yeah, the last 45 minutes for a game is like my time where, like, no matter what my week's been like, I'll lock in. So I like getting on the boxing gloves just before I go out. So that's something I love. Just can't throw to save my life, but gets me revved up. So I'm ready to go.
That's brilliant. And selfishly, just to finish, what's been the number one moment so far at the Blues for you?
Definitely the final series of 23. Yeah, winning finals is it's been euphoric. So that's been the most addictive feeling I've had.
That's brilliant. Well, mate, I hope you get back there. No one deserves a flag more than you. You always see things like Shane Crawford, I reckon's one. You know, when you get a bit older, I speak to Toby Green obviously all the time. He's a couple of years older than you. And you always think about, geez, are they ever going to get there once they start to get past 30? And then obviously you see Pendles now, what's he, 30-something, it's right up there, but he's still got one at 35 plus, didn't he? So, but you see those moments, and I just hope that you do get one. You're so loyal, and I love what you do off field more than anything. So, and I can't thank you enough for sharing all these secrets for everyone. It's great. It's what I love about podcasts is sitting back, getting to learn someone that you already know, but you get to deep dive and understand what makes them tick and share a couple of things that'll help a lot of people out there. So, mate, thank you so much.
Good man. Thanks for having me, mate. Thanks for all the gifts. I have to get the truck out, mate, to take it all
Well,
home,
we're going to have to get the truck out as well, and we're going to give that away. So if you like this podcast, make sure you get online, follow Alivia, follow all these brands on social media, and American Aces will cook something up. And, who knows? The Wildcard Blues, mate, they might even make the top 4 the way they're going. We'll have to see how we go. We don't talk about football now because this is an evergreen product. But thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tommy Talks with Patrick Cripps, the king of Carlton. We hope you enjoyed it. And, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal. I'm wearing Rick's sunglasses, made in Australia.
Shaq loves Australia.
See?
There we go.
Your first commercial right there.
Head to checkout and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off site-wide. Rick's, eyewear that inspires confidence.